And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
The week began with the world saying farewell to Queen Elizabeth II, and we won't dwell on that except to say one final time, thank God for her 70-plus years on the throne of Great Britain and for all that she did for this world, all that she represented to people across the globe, for her steadfastness, her resolve, her Christian faith, her grace, and her dignity. May she rest in peace. The world will not see one like her for a long, long time. Back here at home, abortion continues to ramp up as an election year issue. And in my home state of Pennsylvania, this week we had two separate rallies. The Pennsylvania Pro-Life March on Monday, which had thousands, some say 5,000, others say more, but regardless of which estimate you take, an awful lot of folks there to celebrate life, to talk about the days to come following the Dobbs decision and what can truly be done to scale back the number of abortions being performed in this country. And then a couple of days later, the pro-abortion folks had a rally of their own. I don't know, 20 or 25 people showed up, including the head of Planned Parenthood, who said that government should have no role in the question of abortion. No role. Think about that. What she's saying is that there should be abortions for any reason, at any time, with no restrictions whatsoever imposed by government. That's a truly frightening proposition, and one that isn't shared by the vast majority of Americans, even those who call themselves pro-choice. So this issue continues to boil down to the question of who's truly radical on this issue. Folks that want to see restrictions placed upon abortion so that we won't have the tens of millions of abortions that have been performed in this country since the Roe decision, or those that say there shouldn't be any restrictions whatsoever on abortion. And I think that is going to be one of the issues this fall. But the issues that are going to ring a lot truer to voters are those that they're talking about when they wake up and sit down for breakfast with their family. Poll after poll continues to say, as they almost always do, that the economy is the dominant issue this year. And with runaway inflation, even though Joe Biden told us just a couple of months ago that it was at zero, and with a recession now looming very, very large, the market's now into bear territory. Another terrible week this week for the markets following the Fed's decision on interest rates, and you see real fear of a recession. But in any event, the Biden economy isn't working for ordinary Americans, and they're going to let their voices be heard in November. Count on it. And a little dust-up this week between charming Rashida Tlaib, you know, the congresswoman that once called the President of the United States, Donald Trump, a MFer, and Jamie Dimon of JPMorgan Chase Manhattan Bank, the CEO there. She's on a jihad against any form of fossil fuels, has been for a long time, and really exemplifies the wackiness of the environmentalist left on this issue. She asked Mr. Dimon in a congressional hearing whether or not his bank had a policy on cutting off all funding for oil and natural gas development. And he said no, because that would pave the road to hell for America. Pretty well said on his part. Again, just noting for the record that he is a Democrat. It was actually talked about when Barack Obama became president as being the Secretary of the Treasury, and he says cutting off production of oil and natural gas would pave the road to hell for the United States. The fact of the matter is we need fossil fuels in order to survive. We need fossil fuels in order to prosper. We need environmental sensible policies, not the wackiness that those like Rashida Tlaib would bring to us. So increasing scrutiny ought to be paid to other Democrats around the country running for election and re-election right now, asking them where they stand specifically on the issue of increased development of natural gas in particular, because here in Pennsylvania, that is an issue. Josh Shapiro wants to have a foot in both buckets on the issue. We should not allow him. We ought to be asking the tough questions, specifically why he caved in on Reggie, for example, but there are a lot of other ones as well. And finally, we saw a little shot in New York State this week by an attorney general who's in some political trouble, trotting out a civil action against Donald Trump, his children, and his organization. What was really remarkable about all that, though, was that what pretty clearly had political implications to it. She used the announcement of that filing to take political shots at President Trump. That's something prosecutors who are good prosecutors simply don't do. And that says a lot about Letitia James. And for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.